Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of Julia's Fit Diary. Woo! I wanted to ask you guys if you'd be interested in seeing a separate video dedicated just to running. You might have some questions like how to get started and stuff. Like, I am not a marathon runner by any means. I usually run between like 5 to 8, sometimes 10K when I do my runs. And what I was also thinking is I actually have a friend who is a marathon runner. So I was thinking if there is a lot of interest, to maybe ask him to come onto my channel so that he can give you guys some tips on like running. If he can't come, I'll just do a video like myself, my own experiences. Post your running questions below. Yesterday, the video I uploaded was my first day raw and my experience with that. And I wanted to just address some of the comments that I had, some of the questions that I had in that video. One of the main questions I had is why am I trying this crazy diet? Why am I going raw? At this point, I'm not planning to go 100% raw vegan. It's not something that I personally feel fits with my lifestyle. It's something that I want to maybe incorporate a few days a week where I will eat a lot more raw and a lot more vegan food. But I don't at this point feel like it's something I want for myself 100% of the time. I just want to consume way more vegetables and fruits, and just for health reasons basically, because yeah, that's kind of another question I had is like, oh, well, you're doing low carb the whole time. And I feel like low carb definitely worked. Low carb was such a great way to lose a lot of weight initially. I lost about like 40 pounds or something, or around 40 pounds, between like 35 to 40 pounds I lost doing low carb and being very consistent with my diet and being very consistent with my exercise, of course. It wasn't just the food, it was the fact that I was working out very regularly. Not that I got bored of it, but it was kind of very just repetitive after a while, I guess. You know, it was just obviously consuming a lot of vegetables, but it was basically always meat and vegetable or fish and vegetable. And I like eating like that, don't get me wrong, but there were times when I would be eating meat 7 days a week, because where I live, fish is quite expensive. Yeah, since fish was so expensive, there was times where I'd be eating meat 7 days a week. And it's not like you eat a giant portion. It's not like you're eating a giant steak every day or something. Often I'd just be eating like maybe 150 grams. If I was doing a big workout that day, maybe it would be 200 grams of maybe chicken breast, or it would be some kind of a lean meat. Like, it's not like I'd be eating sausages. And I just want to try something different. You know, there's different approaches to healthy eating, and I don't think that one is better than the other necessarily. It's all down to personal choice, and you know, different things are gonna appeal to different people, and you know, bodies respond differently. For me, healthy living is like a long-term thing. It's not like something that you do for really short term and then you go back to eating crap after. So this, obviously, eating raw and veganism, this is not something that I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna try it for a week and then that's it, you know? This is something that I want to do long term. It's not like I'm trying to mix all these crazy things, but I'm just trying to find a balance between eating different types of food and still eating them in a way that's healthy. And I actually really enjoy eating more plant foods. So, I mean, I was already eating vegetables before, but I totally enjoy eating meals that are either vegan or vegetarian. Which brings me to my next point, which I wanted to address, which is critiques and criticism and people giving their opinions. So this is just, like, I call these videos Julia's Fit Diary, the emphasis here being on the diary. The reason I call them that is because they're really, like I said, just a personal journal of what I'm doing. They're really just to keep myself accountable, and it's just to share it with you guys. You know, I wouldn't have to film these things. I could just do it on my own and you know, not film anything. I'm doing it for selfish reasons too, like I said, to keep myself accountable, and also to see where I've come from, like my track, and you know, how things have progressed, what mistakes I made, because I am going to be making mistakes, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. And so they're really kind of personal, and you know, I'm really kind of sharing a lot with you guys. You know, when I did that first day raw, and you know, I had kind of, you know, digestion issues and stuff. Like, I didn't have to share that with you guys. You know, I could have just kept that for myself and be like, no, everything's great. I'm just going to be a little bit stricter in the comments, because I'm not really here to ask for people's opinions on what they think I should be eating. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to come across in a really rude way, but it's just, sometimes I'd go back on these videos and I'd get these critiques from people saying like, no, you're doing this wrong, and you know, you shouldn't eat like this, it's totally unhealthy. And then people were talking about fasting, like this is completely wrong, you're starving yourself. And just really misinformed comments. People who basically just really don't know what they're talking about because they haven't really done any in-depth research on it. I would get these very sort of lecture-y type comments from people, sort of from the know-it-alls, I guess, who seem to know what's best for me. What I'm gonna do is, for the next few videos, I'm just going to have comments on approval, and those comments will just not get published because, like I said, I'm not really here to ask for your opinion. I'm not talking to all of you. I'm talking about the people who left those kind of comments. I'm not really here to ask your opinion on what you think I should eat, because I think I know what's best for me. Let me and let other people figure out for themselves what works, and don't lecture me and don't lecture other people on what they should eat. I hate when people do that. I really hate when people sort of give their unsolicited opinions on such personal things like diet. You should do this and this and this. I'm just not going to publish those comments because I'm not interested in hearing them. And, you know, like I said, I'm not the expert in this at all. I am going to make mistakes, and you know, that's to me all part of the learning process, and that's to me all part of figuring out what works for myself. And that's how I lost, like, initially those 40 pounds and figured out, you know, what works for me, and it obviously worked. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. I lost 40 pounds. I went from a size 16/18 to a size 8. Thank you for respecting that, to those people who've been very, you know, supportive in the comments. And, you know, if you don't agree with what I'm doing, then just, you know, you don't have to watch these videos if you don't want to. I mean, I would love it if you came along for the ride, but, you know, if you think this is really stupid, then just don't watch. Then the next thing I want to talk about is, like, in the form of making mistakes and people giving their sort of tips. Like, actually, I wanted to thank you guys who left comments on my last video saying, you know, I was combining the food wrongly. I had kind of read something about it, but I wasn't too clear on what that really meant. So thanks to people who did leave comments saying that I should look into sort of what foods to combine on a raw day. Looking back on that video, I did make some mistakes on the foods that I combined. And so that was helpful to know, regardless of what you do. You know, you don't have to, I'm never going to tell you guys this is absolutely correct. Like, I really, you know, there's some sort of hardcore vegans here who lecture other people like, oh, meat eaters are so evil. And I just freaking hate when people do that. And same in reverse. I hate when people who are like hardcore meat eaters telling vegans that they're wrong and it's not natural to eat this way. And I hate people who are so closed-minded. So, like, I'm never going to lecture you guys on what you should be doing. This is really just my personal diary, hence the name JuliasFitDiary, and you can go follow me on my Instagram where I post sort of my healthy meals. It's not like I'm hardcore about it. I still have days where I, you know, eat some sweets, and, you know, like, for me, that's part of life. Like, I'm not going to feel guilty about eating a piece of chocolate, or, you know, when I invite people over, having some cake and stuff, because that to me is part of life, and that's part of my enjoyment of life. As long as like 80 to 90% you're doing healthy and you're staying on track, then that's you know, more than most people do. So I had a few people who are just confused about raw vegan versus regular vegan, and also vegetarianism. So vegetarian just means that you don't eat meat. I mean, there's different forms of vegetarianism. Most sort of classic vegetarians, they just don't eat meat, but they will continue to eat dairy. Some vegetarians, or I think they're called pescatarians, some vegetarians eat fish, but they just don't eat meat. Veganism means that you don't eat any animal products and also animal byproducts. Yeah, no dairy, no eggs, no fish, no shellfish, no meat, obviously. And raw vegan is, well, there's, again, different variations, but classic raw veganism means that you're just eating raw foods, also vegan. So you're not eating any animal or animal byproducts, no dairy, no cheese, and nothing like that, but you're also eating everything raw, uncooked. So it'll be vegetables, juices, fruits, things like that, things that you can eat raw, because you obviously can't eat raw, you know, rice, or you can't eat raw wheat and things like that. Some raw vegans, they will do the raw till 4, which means that you eat raw throughout the day. So from breakfast till about 4 p.m. or whenever you have dinner, you eat raw. So you'll eat lots of fruits and veggies and stuff like that. And then after 4 p.m. or just like whenever you have dinner, like I generally have dinner around 6. So for me, it would be more like raw till 6. But you would eat a cooked meal that's also vegan. And the reason that people on that raw till 4 program eat so many fruits is because vegetables in themselves, like celery and lettuce and you know, classic sort of green vegetables, they're healthy, but they don't contain very many calories. If you were to eat, let's say, like a 2,000 calorie diet on just vegetables, like you'd have to eat in such almost impossible quantities to get that amount, because eating raw vegetables is not going to give you very many calories. There's just different ways of doing it. There's not like one thing that's right and one thing that's wrong. I just wanted to explain that because there was some people who didn't really know the difference and what it means and stuff. So thank you guys so much for watching, and thanks for subscribing to this channel. Thank you for watching my Fit Diaries, and go follow my Instagram stream, JuliasFitDiary. I post my healthy meals there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye. Water, that was a nut coconut, then the fresh coconut. This is about half a pineapple and then 2 oranges. Now I'm gonna fill it up with, I think, a little bit of water and some organic soya milk. All right, so